and I love all that. And keeping in the Virgo spirit, I'm going to give you 15 questions with the Virgo.
Okay, good. So, okay, so this is like a segment. So this is like da 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 da. 15 questions with the Virgo or for a Virgo. Okay, so I'm said Virgo.
You're the Virgo.
Okay.
So I'm 15
Hi.
questions. So 15 questions for a Virgo. Number 1, are you practical or impulsive?
Practical. Sorry, I yelled at the microphone. The microphone's like, come down.
Do you like to enjoy nature?
Heavy yes. Heavy yes. Yeah.
Do you Never has there been cook at home or eat out?
That's the first tough one you're asking. I think I would say cook at home, because out, though, could be such a fabulous experience. Anyone can always navigate towards this great feeling based on how much you're willing to pay for the restaurant. At the house, that's based on how you convey your house, who you want to bring into your home. It's a little more special. Yeah.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Now, are you good at balancing that little judgmental side of yours?
Did I say I was judgmental? When did that come up?
I'm saying it. Virgos in general, that's one of the characteristics. They're known to be a little judgy.
When one host says on the sly, you know you're judgmental. It's happening right this second. What did we do to deserve this? What did we do to deserve this? Okay, do I think I'm judgmental, you're saying?
No, can you balance it? No, we already know you're judgmental.
Okay.
Can you balance it?
Opinionated, I would say, but yeah. Can I balance judgmental? Yeah, I think so. I think yes. Actually, yes. No explanation, but I can do it.
Okay. If you did not need any money, what would you do for work if money was never an issue?
I would probably push forward into something I was chicken shit to do as a kid. Radio and broadcast always was the acceptable thing for me to do, and you didn't really succeed there. But I've had great memories. I feel like I would take, hire some acting coaches, do a little travel, of course, too. But I would hire some acting coaches, and I would want them to just kind of teach me and perfect me at that. And I would want us to use a couple things to draw from. One would be that I do think if you're good at radio and broadcast, as we've done for so many years, I do think there's a little level of acting or performance or theatrics. So I would want them to kind of mesh the worlds of what I feel comfortable with it, which is what we do here, and this other thing that was always too scary for me to try.
Oh, so to be a performer. So perform. Okay, I like it.
Yeah. Right, and then I have a on-screen role with Tom Hardy. Yep.
There you go.
Come on.
I need to be an extra in that one.
First small fee. First small fee.
What was the last lie you told?
It's probably like somebody telling me like, because my birthday, September 5th. And like, I mean, the whole holiday weekend, you're pretty upbeat, but you're not like always upbeat. Somebody might have texted or said something and was like, oh, how are you doing? And I might have been like, I'm so happy. And I'm just like, I mean, I'm not that happy. There's some bullshit going on around me. But so it was just like,
white lie, then.
For the sake of, and I generally was happy, but for the sake of it being my birthday, I gave exactly what the answer that they wanted. And I was like, I mean, not that damn happy. We got some shit to deal with. Yeah.
Okay. Would you rather have a beautiful home in an ordinary suburb or an ordinary home in an extraordinary place?
Okay. What? Can I say none? Wait.
Would you rather have like an extraordinary house in an ordinary town, suburb, neighborhood, or would you rather just have an okay house but in a very extraordinary place?
Oh, sorry, I misheard that. Mm-hmm. You know the answer to that. It's gonna be the like, I don't care if it's a slither of my home, because I will make my home beautiful. But environment and location mean everything, and don't you ever forget that. Don't you ever forget
so it's the extraordinary place.
Absolutely.
What is something that you do differently than most people?
I'm very particular about like I want things to look like almost OCD-ish. So
Okay.
you could see this when we do our Instagrams or our TikTok or even our YouTube channel. I like things to look very pretty. I will change words to make it like if I'm doing the links of our show, I will make sure that it looks like a ladder going down every time. I refuse to have one longer and then one shorter and then one long. My eyes need it to look beautiful. So I don't know if people do that, but I'm very particular when it comes to that. So I'm the best at it.
All right. What part of your daily routine could you absolutely not function without? If you didn't have it, you wouldn't be able to function.
Okay, well, I'll say it because there was some logistics in this once. Um, I love to walk, and I don't love to let's go drive here to go for a walk. I don't I take my car to go in circles. I love walking. I love when I lived in up on 150th, I'd always walk down way past Central Park. I'd walk all the way to 14th Street sometimes. I'd walk up to 207. I was always walking. In Bushwick, same thing. Walk to the waterfront. In LA, sometimes because of your schedule, you can't get out for a walk, and I'm not going to just walk around the neighborhood. And there's also nobody walks here. So I will say walking, while if I don't do it, I get very agitated. And on the flip side, if I'm feeling agitated, a walk is like the most therapeutic thing for me.
Okay. Where were you 10 years ago?
Oh, that's a tough one. Jeez. 10 years ago, I was actually living a lot of what would be so-called my dream. Like 10 years ago, I was coming into living in New York City, which was the thing that mattered to me more than anything. I was like developing this like good friends, good contacts, work contacts, good sex. It was just a lot of really nice things going on. So on some level, I sort of missed that era, but you also gain new skill sets and new aspects in your life as you get older. But I could definitely say that I missed that 10 years ago. Yeah. It's hard to see things slip away like that.
Yeah, totally. How important is it to you to be on time?
It could be. I think it's more important to be insanely communicative about what you're doing, your feelings. I hate passive aggressive energy. So I would take time, like if like you got to weigh out the big picture. Like let's say hypothetically, if Kellie was late to anything that we did, I would weigh the big picture and be like, but she's the baddest bitch I know. She's like amazing. She's like
I'm always late.
She's well, maybe we're not saying if. No, she's my big sister. Like she kind of helps me in a lot of things. So I would be like, I'd look at the big picture. I'm like, showing up a little bit late, is it that bad? Like, does it really, like in the grand scheme of things,
You're
is
not
it that
like a
bad?
stickler for the minute. There's a little bit of wiggle room as long as it's being communicated to you, so you're not waiting around.
That, and I also am not a really big fan of like the, hey, what are we doing this weekend or whatever? What are we doing? And it like being so corny in the sense that it's being planned out so much. I was on in Redondo Beach, the beach cities. I was on just a little small boat, and we were having wine while the sun was going down the other day. That was not planned. So I'm a little spontaneous. So that's why I don't really hold too tightly with the schedule.
Okay. Yeah.
Which
No,
I feel
that's
bad
the
for.
reason why we could still be friends, because I am like horrendous with my time.
Well, takes one to know one. We weren't on hiatus. We were just both too busy.
We just couldn't find time.
We couldn't find time.
Okay, this is going back to what we were talking about earlier. What part of pop culture today would you wish would just go away?
Oh, just the celebration of but you don't understand. They got 1 million followers versus the person who like has been in the business for a long time, has actually a talent or an act. So that comparative of like, always we are all supposed to fawn over, oh, that's a good rapper. And you're like, well, the music's no good. Oh, it doesn't matter. They have like 1 million followers. Well, who are these bots? Like, they're not real. I would say that's the part that is just a bit aggravating. And when you talk about it, they're like, oh, you're just an old head. You don't know shit about shit. So.
Well, then in that vein, are you annoyed when other people don't follow the quote unquote rules? So like the rules of how to get where, you're going.
I think there's more than one way to get where you're going. I think that even is in relationship. I was talking recently that I was talking recently that to a friend, or talking, not talking about her, but I was stating that this particular person, after March of 2020 thing, you know how the world flipped upside down,
Mhm.
and how this particular person would have been living on this coast, but then they ended up living on this coast, and then now they're pregnant and ready to have a baby at any day. So I think I'm like, would this friend of mine, would she have found her king, you know, if she stayed over there? But I think what's meant to be is always going to happen. So you really got to believe in that. Why did I bring
Not
that
so
up?
much like the rules.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe
And I
that
said I
you.
was going to sneeze a second ago. So sorry.
Oh, it's
Sorry.
okay. It's okay. I mean, a sneeze is not like, you know, no, we
No,
don't
but I
get.
don't like a cute sneeze. So
Oh, okay. We don't get
I
lower
like a
than
big sneeze. It's not a cute sneeze.
we don't get lower than 5 stars. I mean, no one's even rating on our fabulous show anyway. Go to Apple Podcast. You want to talk about rules? Go to Apple Podcast and do what we say and say we were great, we were amazing. Jeez.
Okay, what is the last thing in your life that actually went according to plan? Anything?
Only because like the nearest thing I could remember is that when I came out of like the last corporate job I did was at through VH1 and another podcast company. They worked together. And when I came out of that, I was like searching to get back into another corporate job, but I ended up going independent, which is what we're doing from the ground up. And I think it went according to plan because at this point, not only do I do what we're doing and we do everything according to plan, which feels really good, but I've got 3 to 4 colleagues of mine, some real close friends, some more just colleagues, and 3 to 4 people who now want me on some level to work on their podcast. So now I'm moving into a space of podcast consultant, podcast producer, based on whatever needs they have. Some are just like what we do, some are like the full setup, some are more just like consulting and coaching them. And the reason I say it was according to plan, if I could have had an investor at the beginning, you know, because everything takes time, you know, this microphone costs money, the lights, things cost a lot. I remember saying, I have been out of this for so long, but bitch, if I get into podcasting, like it's over for everybody. Now that will take a long time still, but the part of it where I knew the plan went right is that I knew by doing it, it would acquire me to back into radio, which I've got a couple close calls, nothing yet, but a couple close calls in radio. Now, again, friends wanting me to work on their projects, and I knew the snowball effect would work. That's why, again, I was like, kind of like, does anyone want to invest in me? But no one saw the vision that I saw, and we're barely getting
Well, I
started.
mean, at least not yet. I mean, we're just getting started, so who
Yeah.
knows? But
You don't, yeah, a lot of people don't even see what's really happening and like where I'm really, you know,
but they
doing.
will. Like it's coming. It's just
I
it's
mean, I
all
don't
changing.
care. Yeah, I don't care about validation, but I'm just, the
No.
investment would have been nice.
All right. So
Hit
here's
my
the last question.
Patreon.
Here's the last question. If you had an extra hour in the day, what would you do with it?
It has to go back to the walking, getting sun, being outdoors. You asked if
So
I was
you'd use it as me time.
yeah, you said if I was like a nature person, it would not be more TV. It would not be more podcasting. It would not be more emailing a contact to hope that I could get a advancement in this part of my
Well,
career.
you know how different that answer is now than it probably was 10, 15 years ago.
Which is the same reason I think I could live in Manhattan Beach, and I never thought that. Like in terms of New York City, I've lived in Harlem, Bushwick, Ridgewood, and Weehawken, and Astoria for a month, and I like know the places that make me happy. In LA, I'm from like the beach cities, well, right below it, like Torrance area, San Pedro, those types of areas. And when I was growing up, those were where I went. Those were the places I went to high school and stuff like that. But it was always immediately out to the valley because everything was in Burbank. You know, that's where the TV and that was where the radio was. And I could never see myself not living either out there, or I've lived in like mid city once and I thought that was great too, or even like the West Side, Santa Monica, Culver City,
Right.
whatever is affordable. But now I'm kind of feeling like I can live a little closer to like Manhattan Beach, which of course is expensive. But I'm saying before
Manhattan Beach is my favorite.
I didn't even feel I could live there because I felt like it was so far from all of these great things. But when you break it down, the amount of walking you could do there, they've got the amazing Bruce's Beach right there. You could sit on that lawn. Bruce Beach actually has a very tougher story, but it is a resilient story. And it's just I'm the type that, yeah, I would always be out and about walking. I'm not that guy who has a balcony. I don't have a balcony, but if I have a balcony, who doesn't use it? I'm a very put my robe on, have my cup of coffee, look out into yonder. That is me. Yeah.
No, I definitely miss that about LA because I definitely was a lot more outdoorsy when I was there, just because it was easier to do than it is
I
now.
don't know if that grounding stuff is for real, but I feel like it is. Like I'm
Yeah.
all about that. You know, we talked about
No, yeah.
astrology a second ago. You know, the thing is, you can't say one thing like, oh, believe in manifestation, but like astrology is bullshit. Like I think as much as you believe, all of it is sort of connecting. But
I
yeah,
think so. I think so.
I hate the way we look at our phones and you got to like bend your neck and all of a sudden your shoulders are hurting. So an hour extra, I'd be unplugged. You wouldn't even know. You'd forget about me.
I know. I need to start falling into that unplug for a little while.
Fucking IG live. No, I'd be like Ronnie live, living. You wouldn't even know where I was. Oh, I was in Manhattan Beach, just walking by the 90210 beach house, like that. Like I want experiences, you know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, that's my 15 questions with the Virgo.
15 questions with the
15 questions with the
Virgo.
Virgo. Thanks for playing.
That was great. Oh my gosh, goodness, gush. Oh my gushness. I feel very. I mean, it wasn't a lie that I do feel very happy. This year in particular, sorry, I'm giving my award speech. This year in particular, Kellie, I know that there's a handful of things that are not crossed off the checklist, and those can piss me off. But I refuse to go into those 5 days or 4 days of the holiday and not feel amazing. Like when you look back at it, and then you know, sad as it is, we're of a certain age. We come from working at the radio station back in 2003. Kellie and I have known each other for a very long time. We have all these friends, huge group of friends. Well, you know, not everyone, things happen. Not everyone is still here, and so I woke up at 42 feeling like really happy to be here, knowing my shortcomings still, but kind of being like, oh, we're in pursuit to make it happen.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I love that because, I have to say that for me, being in my 40s is a very reflective time. I'm definitely taking a beat and stepping back and just kind of reevaluating and looking at my life. And I'm going to bring you guys along in it because there's a lot of stuff, and I never really gave myself credit, and I don't think that you really have either, that we've actually done a lot of stuff even though we feel like we haven't. Like there's a lot
Right.
of big accomplishments, there's a lot to be proud of, and sometimes I forget. And then when somebody asks me and I'm talking about it and I'm just like, oh, I actually have done a lot of stuff for just being in my 40s, and I want to relish in that. I want to look back on that. I want to tell those stories, and there's some great ones and there's some fun ones, and there's all the emotions in between, but I also don't want to forget them.